Today, we're diving deep into the wisdom of one of the greatest Stoic philosophers of all time, Epictetus. This former slave turned teacher has some powerful insights on how to cultivate true, lasting happiness through the practice of Stoicism. Now, when most people think of happiness, they imagine a life of ease and pleasure, free from any discomfort or challenge. But Epictetus had a radically different view. For him, happiness wasn't about what happens to us, but how we respond to what happens. It's not about avoiding difficulty, but rising to meet it with wisdom and resilience. As Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This simple, yet profound idea is at the heart of his philosophy, and it has the power to transform the way we approach life's ups and downs. So, whether you're facing personal challenges, professional setbacks, or just the daily stresses of modern life, stick with me. By the end of this video, you'll have a toolkit of Stoic strategies for cultivating unshakable happiness, straight from the teachings of Epictetus himself. Let's get started. Who was Epictetus? Before we dive into his philosophy, let's take a moment to get to know the man behind the wisdom. Epictetus was born a slave in ancient Rome around 55 AD. Despite his difficult circumstances, he was allowed to study philosophy from an early age, sitting in on the lectures of the Stoic teacher Musonius Rufus. After gaining his freedom, Epictetus went on to establish his own school of philosophy in Greece, where he taught until his death around 135 AD. His teachings were so influential that even the great emperor Marcus Aurelius was known to quote him in his own philosophical writings. What's remarkable about Epictetus is that he lived his philosophy. He didn't just talk about Stoicism, he embodied it in every aspect of his life. Despite facing poverty, exile, and physical disability, some accounts say he was crippled from a young age. He maintained a steadfast commitment to wisdom, virtue, and inner freedom. In many ways, Epictetus's life is a testament to the power of Stoic principles to help us thrive in the face of adversity. So, what exactly are these principles? Let's take a closer look. The dichotomy of control. At the core of Epictetus's teachings is the idea of the dichotomy of control, the notion that some things are within our power and others are not. As he puts it in his famous Enchiridion, or handbook, the chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself, which are externals, not under my control, and which have to do with the choices I actually control. For Epictetus, this distinction is crucial for our happiness and peace of mind. When we focus our energy on things outside our control, like the opinions of others, the weather, or the state of the economy, we set ourselves up for frustration and disappointment. We're essentially trying to control the uncontrollable, and that's a recipe for misery. But when we focus on what we can control, our own thoughts, judgments, and actions, we tap into a deep source of inner power and freedom. We may not be able to change our circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. And in that choice lies the key to our happiness. As Epictetus reminds us, it is our attitude toward events, not events themselves, which we can control. Nothing is by its own nature calamitous. Even death is terrible only if we fear it. So the next time you find yourself getting worked up about something beyond your control, take a step back and ask yourself, is this within my power to change? If not, can I let it go and focus on what is within my sphere of influence? The art of desire. Another key aspect of Epictetus's philosophy is his take on desire. For the Stoics, much of our unhappiness stems from misguided desires, from wanting things that are ultimately outside our control or not conducive to our flourishing. As Epictetus puts it, freedom is secured not by the fulfilling of men's desires, but by the removal of desire. In other words, true happiness comes not from getting what we want, but from wanting what we already have. This doesn't mean we should never strive for anything or have goals and ambitions, but it does mean being mindful of our attachments and learning to cultivate contentment in the present moment. One way to do this is through the practice of negative visualization, imagining ourselves without the things we value, so that we can appreciate them more deeply. As Epictetus advises, he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. By regularly contemplating the impermanence of external goods, we train ourselves to find joy and sufficiency in our own character and actions. We learn to want what is truly in our power. The discipline of perception. For Epictetus, another key to happiness lies in how we perceive and interpret the events of our lives. Often, it's not the events themselves that cause us distress, but our judgments and opinions about them. As he famously put it, men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. In other words, it's not what happens to us that matters, but how we choose to see it and respond to it. This idea is at the heart of what Epictetus calls the discipline of perception, the practice of carefully examining our impressions and beliefs, and learning to see things objectively, without the distortions of fear, desire, or aversion. When we encounter a difficult situation, our first impulse is often to react emotionally, to get angry, anxious, or upset. But Epictetus encourages us to take a step back and ask ourselves, is this really as bad as it seems? What can I learn from this challenge? How can I use it as an opportunity to practice virtue and resilience? By reframing our perceptions in this way, we take the sting out of adversity and find the hidden opportunity in every obstacle. We learn to see life's challenges not as threats, but as chances to grow and develop our character. As Epictetus puts it, circumstances don't make the man. Every difficulty we face is an invitation to discover our own inner strength and wisdom. The path of the Procopton. For Epictetus, the ultimate goal of Stoic practice is to become a Procopton, a person who is making progress on the path of wisdom and virtue. This is not about reaching some state of perfection, but about continually striving to live in accordance with our highest values and ideals. As he puts it in the Enchiridion, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. Don't wish to be thought to know anything, and even if you appear to be somebody important to others, distrust yourself. In other words, the path of the Procopton is one of humility, self-awareness, and constant growth. It's about letting go of our ego and attachments and focusing on what truly matters, living with integrity, compassion, and inner freedom. This is not an easy path, but it is a deeply rewarding one. By committing ourselves to the daily practice of Stoic principles, we gradually transform ourselves from the inside out. We become more resilient, more mindful, more attuned to what really matters in life. And as we progress on this path, we find a deep sense of purpose and fulfillment that goes beyond the fleeting pleasures of external circumstances. We tap into a source of happiness that is truly unshakable because it comes from within, putting it all together. So, there you have it, a crash course in the Stoic art of happiness, straight from the teachings of Epictetus. We've explored the dichotomy of control, the art of desire, the discipline of perception, and the path of the prokopton. But the real power of these ideas lies in putting them into practice in our daily lives. It's one thing to understand them intellectually. It's another to live them out in the face of life's challenges and uncertainties. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one of these principles that resonates with you and commit to practicing it this week. Maybe it's focusing on what's within your control when you feel overwhelmed. Maybe it's cultivating gratitude for what you already have instead of fixating on what you lack. Maybe it's reframing a difficult situation as an opportunity for growth and learning. Whatever you choose, approach it with curiosity, openness, and a willingness to learn. Remember, the path of the Stoic is not about perfection, but progress. It's about showing up each day with the intention to live with greater wisdom, resilience, and joy. And as you walk this path, know that you're part of a timeless tradition of seekers and practitioners who have turned to Epictetus for guidance and inspiration. By engaging with his teachings and putting them into practice, you're tapping into a wellspring of wisdom that has nourished countless generations. So keep going, my friends. Keep studying, keep practicing, keep growing. And if you found value in this exploration of Epictetus and the art of Stoic happiness, I invite you to hit that like button and share this video with someone who could benefit from these ancient insights. And of course, if you want to dive even deeper into the life-changing wisdom of Stoicism, be sure to subscribe to the StoicSoul channel. Each week, we explore different aspects of this powerful philosophy and how to apply it to the challenges and opportunities of modern life. Thank you for being here, for your openness and commitment to living with greater purpose and resilience. Together, we're building a community of modern Stoics, supporting each other to show up as our best selves and make a positive difference in the world. As Epictetus reminds us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. So let's get out there and do the work, one day at a time, one choice at a time. And remember, true happiness is always within your power, no matter what life throws your way. Keep calm, stay stoic, and I'll see you next time.